What it do, Snackers, Snackettes, and Snack X's? Your boy Gage is in the building with the homie Jokes.
Yo, yo!
We got the homie Marcus,
What's up, Oos?
and and we got the homie K, aka Domingo Fresh, aka
AKA.
Go Easy, aka Happy Sunday, but in Spanish. Yeah, in the building with us. And you
There we go.
are now tuned in to Loading Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today
Today,
is a special day. We are taking a bit of a break from pop culture as a whole. Because if we didn't, all we could talk about is Xbox being on fire.
Xbox.
So, we are taking a break because this Friday, 619, 619, June 19th, Juneteenth, also happens to be Sin's birthday. So this is going to be our first time celebrating Sin's birthday since his passing. And today we are celebrating Sin. We are celebrating Sin's birthday. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. We're sharing some memories, talking about some of our favorite things. We are looking forward to having some of you join us in the chat, share some of your memories, and just talk about some of the things. And, you know, this being different from the last time we had something like this that was about Sin, this is really a much more
Appreciate you.
Loading Snacks related. Hey, Frosty. A Loading Snacks related version of kind of talking about Sin and our memories specifically with that, because the last go round was really just more about Sin even outside of Loading Snacks. This is a little bit more focused. So that's what we're gonna do. What I would like to start with is the normal rigmarole. We're gonna get through all the regular stuff before we start digging into, like, you know, just our personal thoughts and all that kind of stuff. What that means is the Jokes has a job to do.
Yeller.
You do your job.
I did my job.
That means that Jokes has shared the link to our website so you can go there and see what's going on with us, when and where we will be, where we are, and find all of our socials.
Oh my goodness.
Our Instagram, our Blue Sky, it's not active, but it's there.
Blue skies.
Most importantly, our Patreon, which is truthfully one of the best ways you can support us if you're not here right now watching, if you didn't come back later to watch, if you're not listening on some other service and you're liking and you're sharing and so forth. Patreon really is one of the best ways you can support us. It makes it easy for you to support us from a monetary standpoint, and it makes it easier for us to continue to do the things that we're doing. And on that note, it's time for the 619 Patreon Hall of Fame. If you would, please, Jokes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so let's shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, Tyrone Carson, Meticulous Skin, Alex Lee, Ellis Mbe, and Kermit Ferguson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Indeed, we do. So, this Friday would have been Sin's 48th birthday. And I am fortunate to be able to say that for like 30 plus years of that 48, he and I were very good friends and spent a lot of time together. However, for the last 11 years, we've been doing this. And this is a major brainchild for us that just kind of came out of a lot of the stories and stuff that were built over that time, but a discovery of a lot of the love of these kinds of things, right? A love of video games, a love of anime, a love of cartoons, a love of it being okay to not really grow up, if you will. And wanting to have a place where not only could we talk about it, but we could normalize being adults, working real and / regular jobs, and still talking about this kind of stuff. And through doing that, you know, it just so happened that Kay decided to take it to the next level. What we thought was just gonna be, all right, we're just gonna sit down, record our little audio thoughts. It's gonna be cool. Kay showed up with all the camera equipment, like, hey,
We about to
need
do this
y'all
thing.
to know this is what we doing. Oh, this is what we doing? This is what we doing. So again, we're gonna spend tonight talking about some of our favorite sin moments, and so forth, from just the decade past of loading snacks, kind of from beginning, and how things got started. Again, feel free to flood the comments with your thoughts and your memories and
Please
your
do.
laughter and what have you. If you're upset with Sin for not liking Superman, feel free to say it. Like, it's okay.
Put that out there too.
So yeah, it's all right. It's all right. You know what I mean?
I got some pictures with Sin and some Supermans throughout the years too. I'm gonna have to go find those and put up here.
Oh, there's definitely some clips of my man throwing the most shade. Now, before we do that, I need to bring us down for a moment. So, when we lost Sin, one of the very first people to contact me was a young lady I've known for a very long time by the name of Courtney LeGrand. She dated Sin's younger brother many moons ago. She was best friends with a young lady who Sin was dating many moons ago. And she took it really, 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 really hard. We had a lot of really good discussions, but she is probably the person who also called, reached out, messaged me most often, like from that time. And things were not and had not been really easy for her. She was a really good shoulder for me, and I hope vice versa. And unfortunately, we lost her yesterday.
Wow.
Circumstances are not, I don't know all the details, and that's not really what this is about. I just want to take a moment. Like, she was very important to Sin. Sin was very, very, very important to her. And it is a little bit difficult to do this today with her in mind. We are, planning to go and celebrate Sin on his birthday on Friday. It's a thing that I would have loved for her to have had the opportunity to participate in. What gives me some solace is the idea that they are somewhere together, laughing about all kinds of other
Everything.
things. So I need to share some condolences to her family, to her children, her young children, and so forth, and just make sure that they know that, like, I'm here. We're here to continue to support in whatever ways we can. If anybody is watching this and they are familiar with who she is and so forth, there is word about a candlelight vigil, but the family wants to do something. I know that there were some folks trying to put some stuff together. So again, if you know me personally on a personal level, if you pay attention to my page, as soon as there are details and things like that, I'll make sure that is known, because she was very instrumental in putting those kinds of things together for Sin. And we want to be just as helpful in the background on those things as well. So we'll share that information as soon as we have it for those who need to know it or who are interested. May you rest in peace, Courtney. You are truly missed already. Now, on that note, we're going to start getting into some of the things that Sin helped kind of bake in and create here. I'm going to start by saying that when loading snacks became a thing, it started as something that was really supposed to be very video game focused. The original idea wasn't truthfully to get into all the other things that we get into. Although the idea was always for us to just kind of talk like we always did. And when we were playing video games or something like that online, Xbox Live or whatever it was, we did tend to talk about all those other things. And so it was kind of a natural, extension for us to move into comics and move into anime and all the other things um, that matter to us, that are things that we enjoy doing and always have. Um, and early on, it became apparent that there was going to be a need to kind of split up some of the things that we do. And so, just with where Sin's personal focus was, just as a person and in terms of the things he loved, anime was the natural. Like, that's your bag, that's your thing, that's what you do, that's where
Yep.
you are. And in later years, in the more recently, he was very back into wrestling and so forth. Years ago, it was a huge thing for him, but it hadn't been a thing. It wasn't really a thing anymore at the time we started, loading snacks. So it kind of resurfaced. So the anime thing was something that, there was a lot of work and focus, especially on his end, about highlighting anime. And even though I like anime, and didn't love it the way Sin loved anime, and there was always something new, some additional show, some other thing he was watching, something Alex had on his Plex, you know what I mean, or something like that. And he was like, and he would come to me and just be like, "Hey B, look, man, I know you don't be trying to be in it, but I'm telling you, B, I'm telling you, this one, you would like this one. You should just watch it. You gonna like this one. This one, it's just the kind of stuff that you really, whatever." And I'll be honest, most of the time I just be like, "All right, I'm not doing it though." All right. You know what I mean? And to some extent, partially because I actually think he liked it being his thing, like having the responsibility of it being his thing on his shoulders, and the responsibility of kind of like harboring new people in, being a place of comfort and ease for people to kind of get more information or learn about older stuff. And so, he used to do, there was Anime Vault, because there were like 3 seasons of Anime Vault.
Right.
He had this 52 and 52, which was probably the most ambitious
That was my
thing
favorite. I love that.
Yeah.
any of us ever tried to do. With literally, it was, I'm gonna try to watch 52
52
animes
animes
in
52 weeks.
52 weeks. So over the course of a year, he's just gonna keep trying to do a new one every week. And he watched a lot. We didn't. A lot of it never made it to you. And there's stuff that's uploaded that is, it's private or whatever. And eventually we'll get some of that stuff out. I've been looking at a lot of it over the last couple of days. And a lot of it is honestly perfect for the way that like YouTube and Instagram work now with Reels. Most of the 52s are under 3 minutes. I think there's some really good stuff in there. And I'm very eager to reintroduce a lot of that stuff to you all. Sort of on his behalf, but also just kind of like, there are things that, I think that you can, there's, what I love about those more than anything was that the passion that he had for anime, regardless of whether or not he liked a show or not, whether he thought it was good or not, you could always hear, you could see it, you could feel it. So it's almost like there was an additional amount of disappointment if he spent the time to watch. And we're not just talking about like, oh, I'm going to watch an episode of this and then I'm going to come and bring it to you. Now, we're talking about watching like a full season, in some cases, every season of a show, every single episode that exists of a show in the course of a week. It's a ridiculous idea. Like, I'm not even trying, like, it's a ridiculous idea. Super lofty. But he would do it. Like, he would he would move through them so quickly. And so there's a lot there. And going back over the last couple of days and visiting it, it just kind of gave me a second wind, a new vision for the kind of passion that he had, not just for what we were doing here. And I think the importance of him, again, being like a beacon for other people, to see people that look like us, that like what we like, talking about the things that we like, but being able to introduce new people to it, whether you were older or younger, whether it was this is an anime from '89, you know what I mean? But does it hold up? You know what I mean? Is it still any good? This is something from last week and it's trash. Like, you know, whatever. Like being able to be that, like having that kind of a dedication and pouring yourself into something that you love even more. If you are not very careful, that kind of a thing takes a thing you love and turns it into something you hate because it becomes work. And it was never like that. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it's just that to me is a new revelation in kind of going back and revisiting some of the stuff that we have been doing over the years. I think you're right, Kate. Like when you say it's your favorite thing was the 52 and 52, that came from a place where we were still all recording in the same room every week, and you know he would do his introduction, and you hear Kay in the background go 52,
50.
you know what I mean? 52. Like you know, we just the kind of support, you know what I mean, that we have for each other when we were trying a new idea or trying to figure something out or trying to do something.
Alfonso?
Alfonso?
Yeah. I love that. I love that time. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. But Jokes, what do you got, man? What are some of your moments, some of your favorite memories and so forth? I think your introduction technically to us as Loaded Tracks was at his house. Like the first time
and I actually
you did something with us. Yeah.
Yeah, Sin, you know, we had funny enough, you had called me. We were talking about this is right when Mortal Kombat 10 came out. X.
Mortal Kombat X.
Like it just so happened, you know, things just aligned for all the right reasons. And you guys had before you had brought me into the fold, was doing a bunch of these shorts and things revolving around the characters being introduced in Mortal Kombat. I got the collector's edition. And it was like, yo, that would be a dope thing for us to like open up, record, and be able to post it. I actually have a small clip of that. Guys, apologies, because this is probably going to be a slight echo because of the way that I have to share this. But it's going to be a short version, so...
Right.
You gotta make sure you get that right. So let's go ahead and get this started.
You like Mortal Kombat, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, because
I know
this
you
is the
play a nice
PS4
little.
one. But you own this on the
I
Xbox
also
One,
own
right?
this on Xbox One.
Oh, you're a real fan.
That's how you do it.
But that was the first time actually getting to shoot with you guys and unboxing.
Yeah.
You know, he was more than open and welcome to have me come into his home to be able to do this. That was the first thing ever being brought into the fold to be able to do with Loading Stacks. So that holds a good spot in my heart that I will always cherish. And you know, there's so many memories. Like, you know, we talk about anime and we talk about wrestling, and I'm happy, you know, he was able to come back to the side of wrestling, you know, having him involved in the beginning stages of the finisher and how we were building it up to. So having him be a part of that was just an absolute amazing thing. Like I'll share, like I got to do this all differently because of this. But for like the anime side, this was one of the biggest things I was really happy to be able to share with him. Was our first time actually all going to Anime NYC. And unfortunately, when we went to New York Comic Con, Sin wasn't able to go with us when we went to there. So this was kind of the next best thing that we could, well, honestly, for him, was probably the better option to do.
100%.
But being able to have him come here and, you know, absolutely lose it. Like, if you see behind us, like, there's banners galore everywhere that was in the Javits Center of all the most popular anime that you could possibly name. And, you know, he was going absolutely nuts seeing every single one. Obviously, of course, the One Piece one. But just seeing the stuff that he loved just in these big, giant banners throughout the whole entire venue was just one of those things. Like, his face lit up. Like, this was during the after COVID era and just getting back into the world. So, obviously, wearing masks and doing all that. But this was one time that we were able to go up there and really have, we were working, doing loading snack stuff, but we made sure we had the time to go up there and have fun. I have a small video of one thing that he shot. Of course, obviously, One Piece is his bag. And while we were up there were so many cosplayers, and we managed to get a bunch of them together to do this little video out here. Uh-oh, where did you go? Start you over.
Ready? Y'all ready? Hey, Lo, it's all you.
Hey, look, y'all know what it is. Low Snacks in here with you. We are back at Anime NYC 2022. NYC! Check it out. Look behind me right now. I got a whole cast of One Piece characters.
You already know, bro.
Hey, what is the greatness that is One Piece? Y'all love One Piece like I do?
Of course, bro.
Y'all love One Piece like we do?
Yeah. Hey, we here. Come on, y'all. Y'all love One Piece or not, yo? Let me hear y'all.
Let's have One Piece all together, all right? 1, 2, 3.
One Piece!
We're out.
Yo, you already know why.
My man was so excited.
Dog, he was so. And listen, at first, he wasn't trying. He wasn't trying to do anything. And literally,
I see what you did there, sir. That was pretty good. That's pretty good.
all these cosplayers were just starting together because obviously the big Luffy balloon was there. And I was like, hey, listen, yo, I can rile up. I can get everybody together if you want to shoot something in front of him. He was kind of like, can you do that? I was like, so you can do that? Absolutely, I will do that. And so you can get in front of there and be able to do it. Yeah. And when I tell you, that ended up spawning something. And there's a video that I didn't pull that where somebody had walked past and said One Piece was mid. And boy, did an argument ensue that we had on camera that was real amazing. I'll share a few more pictures, and then I don't want to take up everything because I want everyone else to be able to share. But we'll do
While
two
you're pulling the
wrestling
pictures
ones.
up, I think one of the things that is, I don't know, I guess special about loading snacks and kind of like where we were and where we ended up, like where we are now, the nerves that existed early on.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Sin didn't even want to do. He didn't really want to do the audio podcast. Like he was nervous about just putting his voice on. You know what I mean? Like. So when Kay showed up with the camera,
he lost it.
It was a whole different ball game. And loading snacks was truly a catalyst for understanding that there was an opportunity to be a beacon for other people, understanding that there was growth to be had and kind of learning and getting some extra opportunity. Absolutely. What's up, Allie? You're so welcome. We appreciate you being here. Love and miss you.
What up, Z?
What up?
Yeah, so what again really was just supposed to be a thing for us to just kind of talk about what we always talk about, turned into like lessons about working the nerve up. So listening to you talk about being there again as recently as 2022 and being like, you think you can get all these people riled up so we can do a thing, and then kind of having to psych yourself up to shoot a video, you know what I mean, to do something that it feels like people assume like, oh, we do this all the time, it's easy, or whatever, you're used to it, that kind of thing. It still takes like a certain amount of work and a certain amount of nerve, and we always had to kind of remind ourselves that like, now this is a thing you can do, and then you go and you do it, and you be like, hey, you know what, I actually did that thing, you know what I mean? And he was, again, early on when it was just he and I and Kay, there were a lot of nerves about it, and I cared a little less, I think, about whether or not I put stuff out into the world, and he was very particular about what he wanted to make sure people saw and understood, and they knew, outside of his dislike for Superman. That's the one thing he was like, I don't care if everybody in the whole world knows I don't like Superman. Everything else was still kind of a work in progress, and it's the kind of thing that we just kind of learned over time. Talk to me about this picture, Joe.
So this we took at BlurCon together. So I'm sure there's people that are familiar. Sin's favorite wrestler is Triple H. And as Sin got back into wrestling, there was one thing, of course, that was missing that he didn't have. That every time I had was a championship belt.
Mm-hmm.
So what you guys are seeing on his shoulder was his first championship belt that he actually purchased. He got that, I believe it was for his birthday that year, and he kept it. He kept it sealed because he wanted to do something special for the unboxing and everything. But this was us being able to have our title belts together, and him being able to first show off his Triple H championship. And for him, it was obviously it's a big thing, and those were limited. I believe you can't even get those anymore. So that was one thing that he was really, really amped to be able to get his hands on and have, just because the love of wrestling, having the championship of his favorite wrestler, meant so many different things to him on that level. And we talk about wrestling. He has some of his favorite wrestlers out there. There's tons of wrestlers he would have wanted to meet, specifically, on the women's side. And we were fortunate enough to actually be able to meet Willow Nightingale at, I believe that was Fairfax Comic-Con, if I remember right. And this was one of those things where it was like, hey, yo, we got to go do some work. But it was like, yeah, we got to do work, but we got to stop it. We got to talk to Willow, like, before anything. And this was when Marcus, I don't remember if this was Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander.
Yeah, yes, it was. We had just finished recording an episode about that match, and it just so happens that she was there, and so of course you all was doing your thing and had to throw me underneath the bus, but it's cool.
Oh yeah, 100%. Threw you all up on the bus because it was like Marcus is a big Chris Statlander fan, so Sin had to go up there and it's like, hey, listen, love you. But there's this one person, his name's Marcus. He's rooting for Chris Statlander. And you know what? I don't listen, he was going off the whole entire time. I wish I could have had it on camera, but they weren't letting videos and stuff roll. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. But boy, oh boy, that was an absolute fun experience that I was happy that he was able to get someone that he really, really enjoyed seeing on TV on a weekly basis. I think I got one more, and then I think I have so many. Like I would love to be able, but it's just, and the last one I'll put up. You can see, of course, we got to go back to the One Piece side. Now, this is something I actually dragged him to, but afterwards, he was super happy. One Piece had announced they were going to be doing a trading card game, and a local card shop near us was going to be doing a pre-release of the cards to be able to come in, try them out. You'd be the first people that would actually be able to buy the actual playable decks and have fun with them. So naturally, we both bought all four. There was 4 decks that you could purchase. We purchased all 4 of them. But obviously, the one that Sin was most happy for was being able to get his hands on the Luffy deck and being able to use that in play. Now, Sin is not a trading card player in any shape or form. So it was fun, funny at the same time, to see the learning curve on learning how to play a trading card game in motion on here. But he didn't understand that you had to use other cards. His only concern was using Luffy. Like, that was the only thing. He's like, I don't care about anything else. I just want to get Luffy out there and make Luffy win every single thing. And it's just like, that's not quite how this works. But it was just, it was a fun experience to be in there. And obviously, it's One Piece. As soon as I said that, he was like, all right, let's go. And that's just now, it's just a piece of history. And I'm real happy that I was able to share so many of these different experiences with him. That are just, they're so memorable. And if it wasn't for Loading Snacks, if this circle, probably would have never met Sin. But because of the love that we had for all of these same things, they were all just intertwined. At some point down the line, if you had never called me that day to come over and do the Mortal Kombat thing, we would have crossed paths in some shape or form in some way. But it was just destined that just worked out, and we were able to come together, create, and do more. I thank you for that, but I thank Sin for all the hell that he gave me. Like, obviously, you give me some pushback, and Sin was like,
That's my job, sir.
Mhm.
My job.
but it's like, great memories, and I will forever cherish those memories, because everywhere we go, there's always going to be something that is like, man, this dude gonna love it. When that dude Vin Diesel announced there was gonna be 4 Fast and the Furious TV spinoff shows, I was like, oh my god, this dude
Hey, I'll be
is.
honest with you. I'm just glad we don't have to talk about those joints at all. We don't have to talk about that at all. I'm happy about that. Marcus,
Because we would be doing Spoiler Boys every week.
Wow.
you will be doing Spoiler Boy. I would denounce that joint. Marcus, my man, talk to me. Like, you've been a supporter from very early on, from very beginning, and have more than been brought into being a member of the crew. So I'm actually really interested to just kind of see, where you are, what some of your early memories are of Sin. I'm sure you have memories of him treating you badly from a wrestling standpoint or something like that, because opinions and such. What you got, man?
Well, I would say similar to jokes, like if it wasn't for this family, like this group of people, I never would have met Sin. And like me and you, like we go way back for a long time. So I've gone to conventions. I've always seen you guys working. Pastor always came up and said like hello and everything. Just just being able to talk to you guys and talk about like everything that's happening in like the gaming world and at the time, or whether I know for jokes of myself about anime and wrestling and getting into like that cadence. And then when it came to Sin, it was just more so, it was just like he was very open about like, hey, I love One Piece, and then I would be like, like, how much do you love One Piece? And then he would always be like, man, it's the greatest thing of like, it's just like sliced bread. And I'm just like, is it though? Like, I find it's kind of like, it's kind of mid. And then that's how like we would get that rolling, and so that dynamic. And then from there it was more so kind of like a big brother mentor mentee type thing, and just going to him talking about like life circumstances and outside of like anime and wrestling. And then like jokes put up the picture of the belt, and I was talking to him about, like, I remember that conversation like it was yesterday. He and I was having, he was like, hey, I want to do something big for my birthday, and like I want to showcase something. And I was just like, well, you're back in the wrestling, you can get, like, now's the time. And he was like, oh, well, I don't know. I was like, well, hey, you do know Triple H just released like this brand new limited edition belt. And it was like him and The Undertaker and all these other. And I was just like, hey, man, like, I'm not going to tell you not to give into your addiction, but you should give into your addiction. And it was just like, oh, but I gotta get, his Rhea Ripley belt. I was just like, you can get your Rhea Ripley belt later. Get what you actually want right now. Like, this is your guy. So I remember that conversation. So that really hit, like, that graphic really hits home for me, because having that conversation and then seeing him buy it, and then like when it came in, he showed me a picture of like the packaging. He was just like, I can't wait to open this. It's going to be such a great experience. I was just like, yes, it is. Like, you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to be so proud of yourself, and then you're going to want to buy another one, and then another one.
Yep.
And it's going to start. It's going to be a domino effect.
Oh my god.
That
Hey,
collector's
Marcus, actually,
passion, bro.
And Marcus, I got something for you too, like,
Here we
because you
go.
talk about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This was the one time we all got to actually go see. I believe this was SmackDown. And,
Yeah, I think it was SmackDown.
We pulled the trigger at the last possible moment, And like I'm happy we made that decision to actually pull that trigger and go. And I think you know what, Noah's down there on the end too. You can't quite see him, but Noah's down there on the opposite side of Sin
Yeah, with the
over there.
popcorn bucket.
Yeah, but it was like all of us getting to actually go and have that experience together for the first time. And you know, there's a couple other events like we went to go see NXT. I gotta go. I gotta
Yeah,
find
we
those.
went to
Dog,
AEW.
I got so many of those. I'm gonna have to. While we talk, I'll look and see if I can find some of those and pull up too.
Yeah. Kay, I want to give you the opportunity to, at some point, um, we're gonna professionally bash Superman. It's just, we have to. But before
Right.
we do that,
Let me find the Sin Superman Joan. Hold
before
on,
we,
I can
before
find
we
one of
do
them.
that, okay, I need to give you some time. You know what I mean to reflect. The floor is yours. Have at it, bro.
I mean, I got a lot of like other ones like Sin helping me out in life, but I told those stories before. But I say my one of the things that rang out the day because knowing we was gonna go do this, you searching through a whole bunch of banks and stuff like that, and but it's clouded with the fact of the things that happened after he passed, like the whole dang, I forgot why I forget the name of that. Uh, Demon Slayer, the whole thing about that, him turning me on to that and make me different other ones, and then Coastal One Piece and all the little things that's been happening since he passed. The names and the people we meet random that just come out of nowhere and they either name London or their name Sin or some random thing, and it just kind of makes you feel like it does make me feel like that he's still watching, still hanging out, and doing things like that. But it's most feelings like that. But I think the two that stuck out to me, and it's kind of odd, was the first time we had the premiere at the house, and I think none of you guys knew what it was going to do. But I mean, it's just the way the reaction because we had like everything there. We had popcorn. I believe we had chicken or pizza, something like that. And we were all sitting in front of the TV. Everybody was there, and it was just like. And when they put it on and hook up the computer, do whatever to it, and press play, and this little checkerboard thing with all the little letters start walking up, and you had the whole theme. And then before it could, when it got to the part that said, "Oh, I'm gays," he paused it and said, "Wait a minute, did we just do all this? I thought we was going just like you said earlier. I thought we just gonna be two people talking on the screen, and it ended up having this whole entire thing. And when we watched the whole thing together as a crew, and it was just really really great to actually see everything come through. And the fact that we premiered it in his house, which was cool, and it was an event. I don't. It wasn't just us us three in it. It was like the time, Toya, other people, things like that. Everybody was there, and it was a thing. It was a real thing. I was like, wow, it was crazy. But that was the very first time that brung me and made me feel accomplished about doing something and having it to that degree. You might not ever get a chance to do that again, which that's why one of the reasons why it stuck out to me. And I think the thing that I fouled up on a little bit was the 52 and 52. I think those things bringing him back to where he would talk about stuff that he was younger and things that he had done and how it would stand out. And then of course by that time we had adopted a little piece of Attack of the Show by that time. Because we would always have like little banter in the background, but the mic you could hear us in the back. So then we just stopped playing and start saying, okay, great. You gonna say something, and it just would come on in there, and that's how 52 came out because we just repeated. But it was so much banter and laughter before the show. I don't even know how we made it through some of them things so much because it was so many puns and jokes, and it was just a time for him to come pick me up from work so we can actually go do the show and the conversations we have. So I got three memories. The first one I said the 52 and 52 because sitting there and editing those, I got to learn so much about anime. And just like you said, B, the when I'm sitting here editing, you could see the enthusiasm, the disgust, and the excitement, and everything that he was talking about. And I got to see it over and over again. Jokes, for everybody that edits knows, when you see it one time, I saw it 80 times. And it's like,
Yeah.
so you get the feel for everything. But then it's like his theme, what he talked about. And even when I saw some, I'm like, well, let me check this out. Let me actually jump in and start watching these too, since he had such a great excitement with it. And it just went with that. Can y'all still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you coming through
Oh,
fine.
okay.
You good.
So it was coming in and out. Sorry about that. And then
Ha.
you had the fact that editing. So what I said far was the follow up part, and not to do that is because we technically did a lot of them. And B, I'm glad you got most of them. Wasn't quite 52. It may be 29 or something like that. But that's the part that I wish that I would have finished it. We would have finished it together to have more. And it took into the other version of Anime Vote when he did it in his house and he was looking at the other camera. Even doing those, because putting together, I had to work with him and he would send me the next one. So at the end of every episode, it'd be what's coming on next week. And then the promo for Anime Vote, I watched that like 1,000 times with I forgot the name of that one he had, but it was that, and it was just so many times when we would actually go to the con and we would, if we broke out, like we would be all together. But if me and Sim broke out to go do something, it was so freeing. It was great. He would just like do whatever. It's like, let's go. And we had to interview somebody, and it was just always a fun time when him and I will go out and do some things at the con. Some really crazy messages that he told me. I don't know, I guess I can share. He told me that one day he said we were sitting at the top of the thing, and he told me that if I would meet somebody one day to come. I was down, things had happened, and all our lives is kind of similar. But in my particular chapter of it, he had sat right beside me at the top of the Gaylord Hotel and just sat on the stairs with me. And he was like, "Look, one day you're gonna meet somebody. They're gonna be what you really want. They're gonna be in the film. They're gonna be in the anime. They're gonna be in the music, and you're gonna love them. And I'm telling you, it's gonna come your way." And it's like one of the other days, something like that similar happened, and that's when I called y'all because I was like, I was almost done. I was broken down. I was in the middle of the thing, shedding like mad tears. Luckily, it was hot in there, so people thought I was sweating out my eyes. But that's what it was, and I was like, because I remember what he told me, and the one person that came up to me was so enthused. And when I mentioned Avatar: The Last Airbender, she was blah blah, and I'm like, this is crazy. But I felt like he was sitting there going with one of his purple cups, the thing, the hoodie, and even the cloth around him,
Little
going,
scarf.
yeah, what I tell you. And I was sitting there, and that's what hit me. That's what hit me the most because I was like, he was watching. And like I said, I told y'all the thing about this bracelet the other day, which was crazy. And I was like, because it's the Joker colors, but he was a big fan of the Joker. But it was just the fact that the person came up, and out of all the bracelets, she had a million bracelets on her hand. But the one she held out in front of me was this one. And I just automatically just said, yeah. And she gave it. It wasn't like we paid the money. She said, hey, do y'all want it? Do you want this bracelet? And I was like, when I saw the colors, I just automatically said yes. But again, like I said, I didn't ask her name, because if she just said it was something like that, it would have been crazy. And I got a lot of them, but one of my other favorite moments, there are artists that I love, and there's music that I like. But I'm very picky because I'm a true hip hop head, but I'm a producer and I listen to all kinds of music. So besides B, your cousin, that Miles that made me get into a little bit of trap because he could spit and the music was nice. But Sin used to play this song from this guy named Flostradamus every day when he would pick me up to go do the show. And I went down on my money. And I was in the car like, but after a while, I'll be sitting there and I go, and then next thing you know, we be in the car like,
Yeah, mosh
what's
pit.
up? Instagram pic, man. And ever since then, I love that song. But when that joint come on, that's the first person I think about. Because I never in my life would have sorted that song out. And he used to be driving. And you driving with somebody, you go to that look like You be driving, he know he looking, and it was just he was so excited for that song. He loved it. He used to be tapping me on my shoulder. Come on, you know you like it. You know, stop like that the bullshit. And I'd be like, yeah, man. So it's a lot of connected, weird, spiritual, wordy moments between me and Sin, more so than the time I had. I mean, of course, of everybody, I wish we had more time with him, but at the end, I only known him for like 11 years. I mean, 10 or
Mm-hmm.
11 years. And it's just a lot of things that I wish that we could do as all us does. But
Mm-hmm.
those times were some of the times that really stuck through. I have more, but today I just trying to keep it narrow because I can talk. So, you know, I just wanted to make those things out.
Hey,
But yeah,
listen, this is the day
very
to
fun.
talk, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I see jokes. I think you found a couple more things you
Yeah, I got
wanted
a
to share. It
couple.
look like
So
you've been digging in the crates for the
yeah, I got
last
a couple.
few.
Yeah, like my phone, like it's just so many. Like I said the Superman thing because that's there's got to be
Oh
the
yeah,
epic
that's a classic one. That's the one I was trying to find. Yeah,
the epic stare down. I forget
I haven't seen that guy too
homie's
much in
name
any
there because like we
concerts
haven't
though.
seen him in a long time because like that was his cosplay bag. Like Superman was his thing. So every time him and Sin came in contact with each other, there was something along the lines of this happening every single time. Cause Sin's like, you gonna do this, dude, every single time I see you. Um, and then a funny one, like I don't a B, I don't even know if you know this. Just what were those things? Um, the comfy like pillow things, Yojibo,
Yeah, the Yogibo joints. There's another
Yogi.
image of him laying on the joints.
Yeah, found that jump.
I think it's from the same con.
Yeah, and it's just
Yeah,
my
yeah,
man like so comfy, so
yeah. I
comfy
saw
on
that
them
the other
things.
day.
They were comfortable,
Man, y'all
and
can tell by our beards, y'all. Our beards is young in these joints.
I'd be happy at that point. Like me and having facial hair, like I barely had a mustache at that.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, no, there's tons and tons more. Like I just gotta pull all of these and just throw on.
Yeah, I mean, look, I gotta say, there's obviously, when you spend as much time together as we did, um, you have a lot of memories. There are a lot of things that we did that were, um, there's a lot of things that are not the kinds of things that ever make it to camera because they're not supposed to. They're just like the
Right.
moments that happen, in between takes.
Hmm.
We all he and I
Falling in
already
Ocean
had
City.
like a camaraderie, you know what I mean? Like, and just kind of had like inside jokes and stuff, and then you kind of build that stuff with everybody else as they come in, and um, look, it's this is like, again, we could spend hours on hours just kind of going through memories and talking about stuff that we did and fun times that we had, and it is um a lot of that stuff, truthfully, is all kind of mashed together for me. um I don't necessarily associate like some pieces of it separately from others outside of some of the character building things that happened because of what Loading Snacks ended
Hmm.
up becoming, because of how Loading Snacks reshaped the path that I think a lot of us were on. It changed the direction of, I think, who a lot of us thought we could be. I think that it was there's a it's odd to say it this way because it sounds like it doesn't sound humble, but there's a certain level of humility that exists in a person, in a group of people, when they're doing a thing that really for them is mostly just about sharing who they are and having a good time doing what they do, and again wanting other people to have that as well. but not realizing the effect that you're having on the community, right? Like how important it actually is to people. How big of a deal it is for people when they see you somewhere, and that signals to them that they're in a safe space because you're there, because of the things that they've heard you say and you talk about, and the things that they've seen you do. It's a strange phenomenon to kind of go through, and um I spent a lot of time having to be someone who had to kind of help steer that for someone like Sin, who was just so, I don't want to say nonchalant, just he was just being who he was. But because of that, did not really truly recognize how much like his present meant to people, like how important it was.
Right.
Right? Like how, and like having to kind of look at it and go, hey man, like people are asking for, people are looking for, people are requesting, you know what I mean? And kind of having to go back and reinforce that like you're on the right path, you're doing the right kinds of things, what you're doing is important, and that like the fact that you can have a good time doing it while you're doing it, but also find yourself finding it as a way to be there for other people, as a way to be there for people who feel like you felt at one point or something like that. So, a lot of what my memories really are specifically of Sin in terms of loading snacks are much more of a view of the whole and how different it was in the beginning versus what it was towards now, right? Where in the beginning he was very nervous and he was very concerned or scared and he was very standoffish about, again, being on camera, nervous about speaking, nervous about whatever. He was very nervous about getting up and doing a panel, going on stage and hosting things or getting other people. And in a lot of ways those nerves, they don't ever really go away. Like they still kind of form into butterflies or whatever, but you just kind of start to go, but what I need to do is kind of more important than like how I feel about it right now, and then you just go do it. And then when I watched this, him go from being the person who needed the coaching and needed the backup to being the person doing the coaching and helping to instruct other people their first time on camera. And we're not just talking about amongst us, right? Because for us, it is like, Jokes isn't necessarily used to being on camera. He's just kind of Coop's not really used to being on camera. We're kind of giving pointers and this is what you should do. And maybe change this up a little bit and pull this word out here and like little things that just kind of tweak some of that behavior. But because what we did for so long was just like, we're a guerrilla warfare team just going out here in the streets of these conventions and just finding somebody who's got stuff that we think is cool and going and talking to them. And we're kind of ambushing them like at their table.
True. Yeah.
And just having to like, and you get people who are like, you want me to do an interview like on camera? You want me to talk? Like, I don't really,
Like we start talking to them and it's like, hey, wait, hold up. Do that again, but we're going to do it on camera. Like,
then they'd be like, what do you mean? We're not doing that. And they'd be like, well, you're just doing the same thing you just did, right? And learning to get good at helping other people feel comfortable about just like, we're really just having a conversation. It just so happens that there's a camera here and there'll be an introduction and a closeout. But like technically, right, we're just doing that. And like just being able to watch that growth, because as someone who had known Sin for 20 plus years before we started doing loading snacks, to be able to see somebody that you've known for that long do something new and have growth and excel in it is still an incredible thing to see happen, right? And when you watch that, you got to understand, like, I'll be the first to admit that like Sin and I were best friends and the greatest enemies. Like we were very like, it was our job to push back on each other and to be very like, no, and yeah, and no, and yeah, like that was a lot of what our dynamic was, and that dynamic existed because we knew each other so well. And that was a lot of what allowed us to work the way we work, even when we weren't getting along, because we didn't always get along, because we were much more like brothers, to be honest. Like, we just knew pretty much everything there was to know, right, about each other. And so being able to watch a person, again, go through very difficult and hard times while you're doing a thing like this, and have this as a thing be the thing that you do to help you escape, get away for a while from that thing, from those things that are going on in quote unquote your real life.
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't have made it without that. With this, I could tell you that.
It's a real thing, and I think all of us went through that. You know what I mean, in some way. And you know, he was instrumental in that for a lot of us because he was a part of it. He's tied to this, right? And seeing what it did for us helped, I think, reshape some of the focus in his ability to help to know that it would be a thing for other people, that it could be really good for other people, even when you were doing something that you knew was going to make other people upset. Because in the world we live in, one of our favorite things to do is argue about our favorite things, debate about our favorite things. So when we know when we're setting something on fire, right? So every time Sin said, I hate Superman. Superman is the worst. I hate him. I also hate him. I just didn't hate him the way that
Sin's level of hate was like beyond like.
Yeah, I didn't hate him, but I mean, it's true. So if your brother hates Superman, I hate Superman. There we go.
It's kind of like how it is. We all, if we see Superman, we jump and Slim. Like, that's just what it is. So we're gonna, like, look, as a birthday present, we're gonna spend some proper time beating up on Superman.
Oh my God!
Right now, because I also feel like it deserves an explanation. And I don't know what's going on in the comments. So if there's anything happening there, just feel free to kind of go on.
There was one that popped up a little while ago I was going to put up because I wasn't sure. It was like, I'm guessing Bet was that. I'm guessing me. I don't know if he still is. Because honestly, I think I'm the only person. So if it's me, like, I got on Huntrix. So if you don't know, like, I love K-pop Demon Hunters. Like, I'm
100%.
corrupted. I'm corrupted.
Really?
So.
Y'all already get your tickets to go back to the theater?
Nope.
Coming back?
I don't think they went up yet. Because as soon as they go up, that's happening.
Hey, look, you see his face though? He was 100% certain.
Hey, listen.
Hey, listen. And you know what? And you know what?
Put him on the big screen.
Hey, listen. We bring that up. Yo, hey, K. I did not watch K-pop Demon Hunters when it first came out, and you know, B and Sin swore by that joint, and it took. I don't know, like.
Let me correct you. I swore by that joint. and then I made Sin watch it. And then Sin swore by that joint and was like, hey, Joe, I was hating, bro. You gotta watch this joint.
That might be a little much.
Hey, listen, and then
I'm trying to tell you that thing is
corrupted. Hey, I'm
corrupted.
Hey, listen. Hey, quick sidebar, like I have currently right now I have all the Funko Pops. So I have the Saja Boys. I have Huntrix, like I have all of it. I'm corrupted. And if they release
did you buy the Lego set?
I have not bought the Lego set yet. I did not pre-order the Lego set yet.
All right, you ain't a real one. All right, get out of here. We're going back to the Superman. No. We're going back to Superman.
Oh, that was probably from Extra Life.
That was from Extra Life. That was an Extra Life.
I think it was
yeah, he lost the bet. He lost the bet, and he had to wear that shirt through the rest of the stream, and I think it was like a couple weeks on weekly afterwards for it.
We was close to having him have to cut that Superman symbol on the side
on
of his head. Well, I would have been.
I think I donated like a couple bucks during that Extra Life to get him for the shirt, and I was just like, oh, there's a hair one, and I was just like, oh, I don't have enough for the hair. I was gutting for that haircut.
He put his barber on notice already that there was a chance that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And his barber was ready to just show up that day to put that.
I would have been so you don't even understand, dog. I was going to the barbershop. He ain't know. I was gonna be there. There was no way I wasn't gonna be there for that. Look, here's the thing, right? Sin and I have a lot of the same hatred for the same characters. Superman is one of those. Sin didn't like him because he was too much of a goody goody, and we would give him a hard time because it was just like nobody respects Superman, and that feels like the kind of thing that like if there's a version of Superman everybody respects, which is like the
Injustice, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Injustice
it.
Superman running it down. And like I feel like that's going to the ultimate extreme. I don't feel like you should have to go that hard if you're Superman. Like Metropolis doesn't have the kind of crime that Gotham has, but people still try to rob banks and jewelry stores in broad daylight in Metropolis. It's no way.
Still, and then he
There's
show up,
no
and then they try
way.
to shoot him. They try to shoot him
It's just,
multiple times.
So, but that all that does is tell me that like that makes it so that I'm not sure if it's just that he's that bad at being a hero or if they're just that dumb. Because again, they people will shoot regular dudes. I'm not even talking about like super powered dudes, like regular dudes with like pistols, 45s, and will shoot at Superman and then run out of bullets and then throw the gun at Superman as if. So it makes them seem really dumb, but also, hey man, just put your foot down, bro. Just be like, hey, listen, if you do this in my city, I'm coming for your head, bro. It's over. The fact alone that people just be like, 3 o'clock tomorrow, we getting up in that bank vault. In Superman City, he's soft. I don't like.
I've never
I
understood
know that
that.
people are supposed to think that Batman has powers, and if you ask me, he does, but he doesn't. At least in Gotham, they kind of wait till it's dark. Like they wait until like this.
Yeah, they don't do anything in broad daylight in Gotham. They were just like,
And they still be scared to do it at night because they know he's gonna be there.
Daylight should have been where they were doing it at.
Well, they're scared that like he might show up, which is cool. He rules through fear because he's not super. He can't do all the stuff, and so he might show up. And what they know is when he has shown up, somebody getting something broke. Like somebody
goes to the hospital.
Somebody's getting something broke. Superman just be like, he just eat all your bullets and walk up to you and then just pick you up and scoop you and drop you off of jail.
And listen, it'd be disrespectful, like just grab you by the shirt, like.
Yeah, like at least give him a decent wedgie. Like pick the joint up by their underwear or like clap real hard so they like fall. Like do something to him, man. Like I don't know. It's this Superman, Cyclops, Leonardo from Ninja Turtles. Like they're just like he hated Wolverine. Like Wolverine was more like he hated Wolverine mostly because everybody loved Wolverine and he just felt like, and Wolverine's like too OP. Like there was just like nothing you could do to him. So it kind of is like a cheat code. So he kind of didn't like that, which is,
what's going on?
What's going on?
What up?
It just was kind of one of those things where like he hated it because of those things. Like Leonardo's too much of a leader's leader. Cyclops,
he's a jock.
Soft leader, you know what I mean? Like, just kind of stuck in the mama's boy, daddy's boy, Professor X, kind of like just a little bit too much. So, and they've done a lot, I think, though, to adjust in recent years. They've adapted. Cyclops is like, he kind of on one these days. But Superman's still just Superman. Now, Supergirl, totally different.
Oh,
totally different.
Complete opposite.
Hands and going in, just like it's a whole different ball game. But
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. That's gonna be another Mortal Kombat, another Scream 6.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for that to just be trash.
They're asking what's the question or topic of the night. We're just discussing. It's Sin's birthday is this week. We're just kind of reliving some memories and kind of talking about some of the things that he liked and didn't like, and one of them was Superman. We're kind of discussing why he didn't like Superman and some of the other characters he really didn't like. And you would often hear him talk more about the characters he didn't like than the ones he did. And it's I will say this. For me, it was always like I understand like Superman is too OP, has so many powers. Wolverine, you kind of feel the same way about. Luffy's kind of in the same bucket. Like Slim might be a little OP, but he wasn't like a goody, if you will.
Yeah. Can I piggyback off of that? Because I just thought of another moment, but I'll add into what you said. So one person that I do know that sin like above everything was Rhea Ripley.
Yeah, I was waiting.
And I don't know why I forgot about this, but that time we had an opportunity for the snacks. I wish I had that WWE paper that I had to sign. I still kept it because I was like, we had all these NDAs and stuff we couldn't do. And I was like, oh, we got a chance to go to the house show together. And we sat there, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 rows from the ring. But he had a ball. And I was taking pictures of Rhea Ripley because that's what I was there to do. He leaned over to me and said, look, I want all those jokes, every last one. He loved her, Joe. We had a great time.
No doubt.
I posted that last week on the Flashback Fridays, because it's one of it's one of the better edits that I did, which I like. But again, like I said earlier, on the fly, which adds to what you said, B, on the fly, phone. Go in, talk about the night, no stutters, no ums, no ahs, all the energy, all the love, everything you saw in that video. And we had a great time tonight. It's one of my most famous memories, and I don't know why I bring it up, but to add what you said for people he did like, you could definitely add Rhea Ripley to that. And I know for a fact that guy, he was in love. And he turned me on to her. I was like, who is this? Who is this? Ah. But when she came on and got in the ring, and I was like, Oh, I take you back. I give you a real one. Inside joke, everybody. So when Rhea Ripley came out, I was like, just like that.
You're dumb, dog.
I figured that against y'all.
Matter of fact, AK.
Yeah, we'll tell that story for everybody. That's a Patreon story. That's how that's gonna go.
Blurcon, when he got his second belt, there was a cosplayer that was dressed as Rhea there. Like, that was spotted from a mile away, and he was like, oh my God, I gotta go take this picture right quick. And it was like, hey, yo, Jokes, you gotta take this picture. And so, and of course, he had the front. That was the second belt.
Hey, so you sound just like when you did that. You sound just like, yo, Joe, you gotta take this picture.
Because it was at that wrestling, it was a wrestling cosplay meetup, and it just so happened it worked out, and it was just like,
yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the kind of thing we could truthfully do till tomorrow, and probably longer than that. And
I'll say longer.
We're gonna have plenty of opportunities to revisit more of this. You'll see some posts and stuff like that going up, throughout the week.
That's probably all you will see.
With Sin's birthday being on Friday, we're gonna get together and we're gonna celebrate him. In a way that I feel like is the way that we should. We're really just gonna kind of get together and commune. It's not really a thing for us to make content specifically out of, but you'll see some stuff. But I he was famous for really feeling like his birthday. It was his birthday week at least. Like I would kind of push back on like he doing the birthday month, dog. Like not like come on now, like but he would really. And it seemed like there was almost always some sort of a major release or something happening, whether it was a game release or something like that, like we'd find out a couple months ahead of time and be like, coming out on my birthday, doing it that day, taking the day off, and like it would always turn into a thing. We got Toy Story on Friday. I don't know that he would have been. We would end up going to see it, but like
he'd have made a thing. Like, hey, yo, that joint's on my birthday. I don't really care, but that joint's on my birthday. So it'd have been
Yo, Jokes, your impressions are really good, bro. Really good.
I don't know. Hey, listen, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
listen,
he did.
If it makes you happy and it works out, then you know what? I take it.
I'm just saying, hey, that's 2 for 2, bro. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, we could kind of do this infinitely. And again, we'll get back into it and we'll share more stuff in the future. We're still gearing up for all of the normal big stuff we got to do, the conventions and stuff that are coming up. Some of them are still a little difficult, you know what I mean? And we're still working through a lot of that because it's still the first time we're going to some of those things, right? But, look, we have StellarCon, not this weekend, but next weekend. So if you're coming out to StellarCon, Catonsville, by all means, if you see us, say hi. We'll be out on the floor, on the stage, all around. So, if you see Jokes and I, at least, we'll be there. So if you see either one of us, grab us, say what's up, say hi, challenge us to rock, paper, scissors, lose right fast. You know what I mean? That's just, it's kind of how it is.
Got some beans we could take with us because they're going to need a punishment for losing in rock, paper, scissors.
Listen, you're saving the beans for Ocean City. Holding on to the beans for Ocean City. So yeah, look, we're gonna close out. Jokes, is that okay?
I would immediately say yeah, it's cool. I don't want to, but yeah, we can go ahead and close things out.
All right. Well, we'll take our time doing it. Look, again, we're gonna be at StellarCon, not this weekend, but next weekend. Catonsville. By all means, go check out StellarCon. Get tickets. VIPs, I think, are almost completely gone. There's a really dope Darth Maul. Like tag that you get as a VIP for doing VIP that was done by Matt Slayer. Really awesome. So highly recommend. Just go and check it out. See what you can get out of that right fast. What's up, Kai? And then also, again, happy Pride. You know what I mean? We love y'all. We love everyone. Everyone is welcome here. That is how things ought to be. So happy Pride. It's also Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, and I know we just came out of Mental Health Awareness Month, like for everybody, last month. But I do want to take a moment just to acknowledge that I think that there needs to be an additional focus put on the mental health, specifically of men, and where we are and what's okay with us. So like next week we'll dig into some of that a little bit as we kind of put some stuff together. I think that's super important. So we need to make sure that we do that. Other than that, we have talk to me real quick about what's going on with the finisher, Joke.
Cool. So the current episode is live. So you guys can head over to YouTube or whatever platform you love to listen to things on. It is available. Yeah. Marcus has a hot take in there, just a synopsis.
Very hot take.
This dude believes that Rey Mysterio is the greatest face in WWE history. Like, I have to get some pushback. You guys should go take a look at that and comment on there for it, because I don't know.
According to the poll, I'm right.
I mean, I don't ever remember being a heel, so he might be right.
See.
Here we go.
The greatest face of all time.
See,
never been a heel.
Joke.
Would you put him over John Cena?
He's
never been a heel.
That small heel run.
He's never been a heel, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Doesn't matter. Look, we didn't open this can of worms right now.
Okay.
You did it.
Sid will be on my side on this. 619. So what?
Listen, Marcus 619.
Right,
it just so happens that 619 is his birthday, and it's the same move of Rey Mysterio. Doesn't matter.
Listen,
no.
There you go. I don't know, bro. That's bracelet, bro. Countless things. That just makes sense to me.
I'm
gonna go. You guys go.
Yeah.
We're not counting WCW. This is strictly WWE.
And leave
strictly
your
WWE.
Oh wait, Cuddy.
Watch the finisher. Yeah, Cuddy, get with him.
Go.
Hey, look. Watch the reel. Comment. Watch the full episode. Comment. So they can come back and talk about it again later. Because if that's not the case, I don't have a problem with your opinion on it. I just, I think that because I don't have no skin in the game, it don't make me no difference. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you it's The Rock. Fighting.
Marcus, we had that fight too.
We had that.
Nobody has ever been better than the People's Champ. Fight me. All right. So listen. So since I wasn't on that episode, we're just gonna leave it at that.
We need to make an addendum to the end of the episode and add that in on there.
If you wanna,
Oh.
we could do it. Hey, they do now. You know what I mean? Jokes.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to wrap it up. Tell the folks what I need them to know.
Remember, y'all, just because of a well thought out plan doesn't make it a good idea.
With that, we're out. Toodles and loose.
Loading snacks.